I was one of these weird kids in the late 90s that traded tapes online. And I was really the only guy in my little group of friends that was so obsessed with wrestling that I traded tapes for it. But I found out about this other guy in my school who was a couple of years older that supposedly also traded tapes. I don't remember how I found out about him, but his screen name was Hollywood Hindu, and I finally found out who he was. And I was a couple years younger than him because I went to a middle school, high school, and I think I was probably in 8th or 9th grade. He was probably a senior. Eventually, I learned this guy's real name, and I went up to him. He was wearing a leather jacket. He had the most amazing rock sideburns from the early 90s. And I introduced myself, and I said, "Hey, I'm a wrestling tape trader." And he goes, oh my God, what's up, man? And we started talking, and I told him that I was on the school wrestling team, and he said, well, hey, you should come up on Saturday. We do some backyard wrestling at the school. You should check it out. So I get up there, and there's this guy, this skinny kid with the amazing rock sideburns, who is doing backflips off of like a chain link fence, and they've got these old beat up mats, and they're just beating the heck out of each other. What makes it even better is there was a school-sponsored event going on. So people are like watching a track meet or a soccer game. And here over in the corner is this group of guys, including this one tape trader, doing backflips and smacking each other with chairs. And they couldn't have weighed more than, everybody was so skinny. We kept in touch throughout high school, and then he graduated. And so my dad, while I was in college, sent me a newspaper article from the Washington Post about this guy who went to our local university, which was George Mason, right near where I grew up, was talking about how he was a student by day, but a pro wrestler by night. And then I realized it was the guy I went to high school with, and he was wrestling now by the name of Sonjay Dutt. It was crazy to me. And, a year later, I see this ad for a local show, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Sonjay, the guy I went to high school with. A bunch of friends and I from college went, we bought tickets, we went up. Of course, I go up to him, and I accidentally said his real name. And you would have thought I just said like some derogatory statement or something. Like everyone looks at me and they're like, who is this? And the guy comes up to me and goes, whoa, it's Sonjay. And then he put two and two together and realized who I was and couldn't have been nicer. In addition to being a great guy, one thing I will always tell you is he was always cheap as could be. He was always about saving his money. I knew Sonjay Dutt before he was in the business. I know him now. And just as a local guy from his hometown area, we couldn't be more proud of him.
Sonjay Dutt, hustle hard. The main reason I played this was because Sanjay's my friend, and I wanted him to hear this story. The other main reason is I wanted him to hear a fan and someone who went to high school with him call him cheap. Just to hammer it home a little bit. Sometimes Sonjay and I have contests on who could live a cheaper road lifestyle, and usually he wins out. He's pretty great at it. I also played this because I related to it so much, me personally. At a big school, nobody really likes wrestling, but when you find your people, doesn't matter age, popularity class, school class, doesn't matter anything. When you find someone who's obsessed with wrestling like you are, you have to attach yourself to them. That's just how it works. It's the most insta-friend possibility there is, pro wrestling. I remember being a senior, and this kid was a freshman. His name was Mark. And it's funny that this all comes together because he just recently found me on Facebook and we've been talking a little bit. But he had DirecTV, so he had access to tape ECW every single weekend. And every Monday morning, I, the big football playing senior, would be like, Mark, where's my ECW tape? And he would have it ready for me. And I would give him the IWA King of the Death Matches tape that everybody had, was my first tape also. Also, the caller was witnessing history. Sonjay and his friends were a big part of the Backyard Wrestling tape series that they got no money for. And if you watch those tapes, you'll see plenty of kids doing this stuff at their school while other stuff is happening. It's so funny. And just a good story all around. Local boy does good. And was nice to the younger wrestling fan that he had no reason to be nice to. Hey, thanks for watching. That call was part of a whole podcast called Wrestling Anonymous. Listen to the whole thing weekly. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, go subscribe. And while you're at it, subscribe right here on YouTube to Colt Cabana's channel. Thank you.